Hello, fictional. Welcome to the Fiction Series X. Today we are gonna see, what if Issei's love interest was Rias' sister, Venelana? Part 1. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Chapter 1. Unexpected Encounters. In the vibrant world of devils and supernatural beings, Issei Haidu navigated the complexities of being a high school student while treading the perilous waters of the devilish hierarchy. His days were a balance of demonic duties and mundane teenage life, often finding solace in the camaraderie of his fellow devils. One afternoon, a casual invitation extended by Rias Gremory, his peer and the esteemed heiress of the Gremory family, led Issei to the opulent mansion that housed the Gremory lineage. The sprawling estate exuded an air of regality, a stark contrast to Issei's humble abode. As he strode through the ornate corridors, a sense of both awe and nervousness gripped him. This was no ordinary visit, it was a glimpse into the world of one of the most influential devil families. Upon reaching the lavish sitting room, Issei was greeted by a sight that stole his breath away. Seated gracefully on an antique sofa was a woman of striking beauty and elegance. Her aura commanded respect, her poise reminiscent of royalty. It was Venelana Gremory, the matriarch of the family, Ria's mother. "Ah, Issei-kun, welcome," Venelana's melodic voice resonated in the room, a warm smile gracing her lips as she acknowledged the young devil's presence. Issei felt a jolt of surprise, his heart skipping a beat at the unexpected encounter. He hadn't anticipated meeting Ria's mother, let alone being welcomed with such kindness by someone of her stature. Thank you for having me, Lady Venelana," Issei managed to stammer out, trying to compose himself in the presence of such grace. Venelana's eyes twinkled with amusement at his flustered state. "No need for formalities, dear. Please, make yourself comfortable." As he settled into the seat opposite her, Issei couldn't help but steal glances at Venelana. Her age seemed to defy time, her beauty ethereal and captivating. Her crimson hair cascaded like silk, framing a face that held an air of wisdom and gentleness. Conversation flowed effortlessly between them, ranging from mundane topics to the intricacies of devil society. Venelana's insights into the devil world fascinated Issei, who found himself drawn to her wisdom and warmth. Throughout the visit, Issei couldn't shake the strange feeling that lingered whenever Venelana spoke or smiled at him. It was a mix of admiration, respect, and something he couldn't quite discern, a stirring of emotions he hadn't experienced before. As the afternoon waned and Issei bid his farewells, Venelana's parting words lingered in his mind, "Until we meet again, Issei-kun." Exiting the Gremory mansion, Issei found himself in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Rias had been the initial reason for his visit, but it was her mother who had left an indelible mark on his thoughts. He couldn't decipher the intensity of the emotions that surged within him whenever he recalled Venelana's presence. Back in his room, Issei mulled over the events of the day. His encounter with Venelana had ignited a curiosity, a fascination that felt inexplicable yet undeniable. He questioned the propriety of his feelings, knowing the implications of harboring such sentiments for Ria's esteemed mother. As the night enveloped him in its embrace, Issei's mind raced with thoughts of Venelana. Her grace, her kindness, and the inexplicable pull he felt toward her echoed in his thoughts, stirring a sense of both intrigue and trepidation within him. Little did Issei know that this unexpected encounter with Venelana Gremory would mark the beginning of a journey into uncharted territories of emotions, testing the boundaries of societal norms and navigating the labyrinth of forbidden desires within the intricate web of devilish affairs. Chapter 2. Conflicting Emotions. Days turned into weeks, yet the memory of his encounter with Venelana Gremory lingered vividly in Issei's mind. Despite his attempts to bury the emotions that stirred within him, they persisted, haunting his thoughts and dreams. His routine continued, a blend of. During their devilish training sessions, Issei found himself stealing glances at Rias, guilt tugging at him for harboring feelings for her mother. Rias, oblivious to the turmoil brewing within him, remained focused on their training, her determination unwavering. Despite his loyalty to Rias and the camaraderie he shared with their group, Issei couldn't shake off the strange pull he felt toward Venelana. It wasn't merely a fleeting attraction, it was a profound connection he couldn't comprehend. One evening, as Issei sat by his window, the moon casting a soft glow in his room, his thoughts drifted back to Venelana's words, her laughter, and the warmth in her eyes. He grappled with the guilt of harboring feelings for Ria's mother, knowing the complexities and implications of such emotions in the devilish hierarchy. The following day, Rias invited Issei to join her for a visit to the Underworld Library, a sanctuary of knowledge and ancient tomes. As they delved into the mysteries of demonic history, Rias noticed Issei's distracted demeanor. "Issei-kun, is everything alright?" Rias inquired, concern lacing her voice as she observed his distance. Issei snapped back to reality, forcing a smile. "Yes, Rias. Just a bit tired, that's all." Rias regarded him with a scrutinizing gaze, sensing something amiss, but choosing not to press further. Unbeknownst to her, Issei's mind raced with thoughts of her mother, an internal struggle he couldn't share. Later that day, a sudden summons to the Gremory mansion sent a ripple of nervousness through Issei. The thought of facing Venelana again, amidst his tumultuous emotions, filled him with a mix of apprehension and longing. Arriving at the mansion, Issei was ushered into the sitting room where Venelana waited, her serene presence filling the room with an inexplicable tranquility. "Issei-kun, it's a pleasure to see you again," Venelana greeted him warmly, her voice a soothing melody amidst the turmoil in his heart. Issei returned the greeting, trying to maintain composure in her presence. However, the magnetic pull he felt toward her was undeniable, the air thick with unspoken emotions. Venelana sensed the unease in Issei's demeanor, the turmoil hidden behind his facade. "Issei-kun, I sense a turmoil within you. Is there something troubling you?" Issei hesitated, torn between the desire to confide in Venelana and the fear of jeopardizing the fragile balance in the Gremory household. It's nothing, Lady Venelana. Just some personal thoughts." Venelana regarded him with a gentle gaze, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Issei-kun, you needn't carry your burdens alone. Sometimes, sharing our thoughts lightens the weight we bear." Her words struck a chord within him, a glimmer of solace in the midst of his inner turmoil. Issei contemplated confiding in her, laying bare the conflicting emotions that plagued his mind. Yet, the fear of causing discord within the esteemed Gremory family held him back. As he bid farewell to Venelana, a whirlwind of emotions engulfed him. Guilt, longing, and confusion swirled within, the forbidden nature of his feelings, intensifying the turmoil. Back in his room, Issei grappled with the complexity of his emotions. He respected and cared for Rias deeply, yet his inexplicable connection with Venelana left him in a state of turmoil he couldn't fathom. As the night stretched on, sleep eluded him. Issei lay awake, the moon casting a haunting glow in his room, his thoughts entangled in the intricate web of forbidden desires and the complexities of his heart. Little did he know that this conflicting storm of emotions was merely the beginning of a tumultuous journey that would test his loyalties, unravel the depths of his feelings, and challenge the very fabric of his existence within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 3. Unspoken Bonds. Days turned into weeks, and the unspoken turmoil within Issei persisted, an unrelenting storm raging beneath the surface. His interactions with Venelana remained limited yet profound, each encounter leaving an indelible mark on his heart. In the midst of this emotional chaos, Issei found solace in his devilish duties and training with Rias and their group. However, the underlying tension within him persisted, an ever-present reminder of the forbidden emotions he harbored for Rias' mother. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, a summons arrived from the Gremory mansion. An invitation to a small gathering hosted by Venelana left Issei both anxious and intrigued. Arriving at the mansion, Issei was greeted by an air of elegance and sophistication. Venelana, as always, exuded a regal aura, her presence commanding respect and admiration. "Issei-kun, I'm delighted you could join us," Venelana greeted him warmly, her smile a beacon of comfort amidst his inner turmoil. The gathering was an intimate affair, a few esteemed devil aristocrats engaging in casual conversation and revelry. Issei found himself amidst this aristocratic circle, trying to navigate the intricate social dynamics while battling the conflicting emotions that churned within. Throughout the evening, Venelana's gentle guidance and reassuring presence provided an anchor for Issei. Her words carried a wisdom that transcended age, and her kindness resonated with him in ways he couldn't comprehend. As the night progressed, Issei found himself engaged in a conversation with Venelana, their topics ranging from devilish politics to personal anecdotes. In those moments, the rest of the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the connection he felt with Rias' mother. "Issei-kun, you possess a unique perspective," Venelana remarked, her gaze holding a depth that hinted at unspoken understanding. "Your compassion and determination are admirable qualities." Issei was taken aback by her words, a warmth spreading in his chest at the acknowledgement. He found himself opening up to Venelana in ways he hadn't with anyone else, sharing his aspirations, doubts, and the tumultuous emotions that plagued him. Venelana listened attentively, her empathy a soothing balm to his troubled soul. In those moments, an unspoken bond formed between them, one that transcended societal norms and the complexities of their positions within devilish society. However, the weight of the forbidden nature of their connection loomed heavily over Issei. Guilt gnawed him for harboring feelings that went against the norms of propriety, especially towards Rias' esteemed mother. As the gathering came to an end, Issei bid farewell to Venelana, a sense of gratitude mingled with the turmoil within him. Her parting words echoed in his mind, a testament to the unspoken understanding that had blossomed between them. Back in his room, Issei grappled with the conflicting emotions that surged within him. His heart felt torn between loyalty to Rias, the complexities of devilish hierarchy, and the inexplicable bond he shared with Venelana. The following days were fraught with inner turmoil as Issei attempted to reconcile his feelings. His interactions with Rias and their devilish activities continued, but an invisible thread tethered him to thoughts of Venelana. During one of their training sessions, Rias noticed a distant look in Issei's eyes. Concern etched her features as she approached him. "Issei, is something bothering you?" Rias asked, her voice laced with worry as she observed his distracted state. Issei forced a smile, attempting to mask the turmoil that brewed within him. "I'm fine, Rias. Just thinking about things." Rias regarded him intently, her concern palpable. She sensed something amiss but chose not to delve further, respecting his privacy. In the quiet moments that followed, Issei found himself grappling with the complexities of his emotions. His thoughts veered back to Venelana, the understanding they shared, the unspoken bond that seemed to transcend the boundaries of their positions. As the days melded into nights, Issei found himself in a constant state of introspection. The unspoken bond he shared with Venelana remained a haunting presence, its significance and implications weighing heavily on his mind. Little did he know that this unspoken connection was merely the tip of the iceberg, a precursor to the tumultuous journey that lay ahead, a journey fraught with dilemmas, sacrifices, and the unraveling of emotions that would challenge the very fabric of his existence within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 4. Familial Strains. Within the esteemed halls of the Gremory mansion, tension simmered beneath a facade of harmony. Issei's unspoken bond with Venelana had not gone unnoticed, casting a subtle shadow over the household dynamics. Rias, absorbed in her duties as heiress and her commitment to devilish affairs, remained unaware of the undercurrent swirling around her. However, Lord Gremory, Venelana's husband and a prominent figure in devil society, had begun to sense a subtle shift in the family's dynamics. One evening, during a formal gathering of devil aristocrats, whispers about Issei's interactions with Venelana had reached Lord Gremory's ears. Concern etched lines on his face as he observed the murmurs and speculative glances directed at his wife and the young devil. As the gathering concluded, Lord Gremory pulled Venelana aside, a furrow forming on his brow. "Venelana, there have been talk circulating about your interactions with Issei Haidu. Do you care to explain?" Venelana met her husband's gaze with composure, her expression unreadable. "Our interactions have been merely courteous, as one would with a guest, Millard." Lord Gremory regarded her with a scrutinizing gaze, a hint of skepticism in his eyes. "I trust your intentions, but you know how rumors can spread. We must tread carefully to protect the family's honor." Venelana's heart clenched at the implications of her husband's words. She understood the delicacy of the situation, the potential repercussions such rumors could bring to their family's esteemed reputation within devilish society. Meanwhile, Issei grappled with his own conflicted emotions. The realization of the strain his interactions might be causing within the Gremory household weighed heavily on his conscience. His genuine fondness for Venelana clashed with the societal boundaries and the implications it posed for the family. Days turned into a delicate dance of polite interactions, but an invisible tension lingered within the mansion's walls. Issei found himself distancing from Venelana, a mix of guilt and concern driving his actions as he attempted to alleviate the strain on the Gremory family. However, fate had other plans. A formal gathering of devil aristocrats was convened, a show of unity and power within the devilish hierarchy. As Issei arrived at the mansion for the event, he sensed a palpable tension hanging in the air. Within the grandeur of the gathering, Issei navigated through the crowd, exchanging pleasantries with fellow devils. However, a heavy atmosphere loomed, amplified by the hushed whispers and speculative gazes directed at him and Venelana. Rias, unaware of the undercurrents, greeted Issei warmly, her smile a brief respite amidst the tension. "Issei-kun, I'm glad you could join us. Mother has been looking forward to this gathering." Issei forced a smile, trying to maintain composure in the face of the brewing storm. "Thank you, Rias. I'm honored to be here." As the evening progressed, Lord Gremory's watchful gaze never wavered, his scrutiny falling upon Issei's every move. Venelana, torn between her duties as a mother and her growing fondness for the young devil, tried to maintain a facade of grace and poise. However, a moment of misunderstanding sparked the flame of suspicion within Lord Gremory. A seemingly innocuous exchange between Issei and Venelana was misconstrued, leading Lord Gremory to confront his wife in a private setting. "Venelana, I've seen the way you interact with Issei. It's becoming a cause for concern," Lord Gremory voiced, his tone laced with a mix of apprehension and firmness. Venelana's heart sank, the weight of her husband's suspicions a heavy burden. "Millard, please understand. My interactions with Issei have been nothing but courteous and respectful. There's no impropriety." Lord Gremory regarded her with a stern expression. "I must ensure our family's honor remains untarnished. This matter needs to be addressed before it escalates further." Venelana, torn between her loyalty as a wife and her unspoken connection with Issei, sought guidance from her sister-in-law Grafia. In a private conversation, she confided in Grafia, who listened with a mix of understanding and concern. "Venelana, you must tread carefully," Grafia cautioned, her tone weighted with the gravity of the situation. "The implications of such rumors can have far-reaching consequences." We cannot afford any stains on the Gremory family's reputation. Venelana nodded, the weight of her decisions pressing down upon her. The strain within the Gremory household intensified, the unspoken tensions threatening to unravel the delicate balance within the esteemed family. As the formal gathering came to an end, Issei departed from the mansion, a sense of unease gnawing at him. The strained atmosphere and the implications of his unintended impact on the Gremory family weighed heavily on his conscience. In the quiet solitude of his room, Issei grappled with guilt and confusion. His heart ached at the thought of being the cause of strain within the family he held in high regard, especially towards Venelana, whose warmth and wisdom had left an indelible mark on him. Little did he know that the familial strains simmering within the Gremory household were a precursor to the impending storm, a tempest of emotions and revelations that would shake the very foundations of relationships, testing bonds and loyalties within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 5. Forbidden Desires. In the aftermath of the formal gathering, a cloud of tension settled over the Gremory household, casting a shadow over the once serene ambience of the mansion. Issei grappled with the weight of the strain his presence seemed to have caused within the family, particularly concerning his interactions with Venelana. Days passed in a hushed atmosphere, conversations laden with undertones, and an unspoken tension hanging like a heavy fog within the mansion's walls. Issei found himself avoiding prolonged encounters with Venelana, his guilt mounting with every passing moment. Venelana, burdened by the weight of familial expectations and societal norms, maintained a compassed facade, concealing the turmoil that raged within her. Her interactions with Issei became distant, a silent agreement to safeguard the family's honor. However, despite their efforts to maintain distance, a silent longing lingered, a forbidden desire that refused to be quelled. Issei found himself haunted by thoughts of Venelana, her warmth and wisdom a constant presence in his thoughts. He struggled to reconcile his feelings, torn between his loyalty to Rias and the inexplicable pull he felt towards her mother. One evening, as the moon cast a silvery glow over the Gremory mansion, Issei found himself wandering the hallways lost in contemplation. His thoughts wandered to Venelana, her laughter, her kindness, and the connection he felt with her that transcended the societal norms and obligations. The soft voice disrupted his reverie, pulling him out of his thoughts. "Issei-kun, may I have a moment of your time?" Issei turned to find Venelana standing in the hallway, her expression a mix of apprehension and warmth. His heart fluttered at the sight of her, conflicting emotions churning within him. "Lady Venelana," Issei greeted her with a mixture of surprise and reverence. "Of course, please." Venelana approached him, her crimson hair cascading like a silken veil, the moonlight casting an ethereal glow around her. "I wanted to apologize if my recent distance has caused you any discomfort. It's a necessary measure for the sake of our family's honor." Issei nodded, his heart heavy with the burden of their unspoken desires. "I understand, Lady Venelana. I would never want to bring any harm to the Gremory family." A moment of silence passed between them, the weight of unspoken words hanging in the air. Issei struggled with a desire to express the depth of his emotions, but the societal boundaries and respect for the Gremory family held him back. Venelana's eyes held a glimmer of understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the emotions that remained unsaid. "Issei-kun, the complexities of our positions in devilish society demand sacrifices. Our paths may not align as we wish." Issei felt a pang of regret at her words, a realization of the forbidden nature of their desires. I respect that, Lady Venelana. Please forgive my intrusion." As he turned to leave, Venelana's voice halted him. "Issei-kun, your sincerity and loyalty are admirable. Know that your presence in our lives has brought both joy and turmoil. Sometimes, the heart yearns for what it cannot have." Her words lingered in the stillness of the hallway, a bittersweet echo of the forbidden desires that tugged at their hearts. Issei bid her a silent farewell, the ache of unfulfilled longing weighing heavily upon him. In the solitude of his room, Issei grappled with the intensity of his emotions. The unspoken desires and the depth of his affection for Venelana seemed to tear at the very fabric of his being. His thoughts drifted to Rias, his loyalty to her unwavering, yet the allure of Venelana's presence was undeniable. Guilt gnawed at him for harboring feelings deemed unacceptable by societal norms, especially towards Ria's mother. Meanwhile, Venelana found herself immersed in a sea of conflicting emotions. Her duty as a mother and a noble clashed with the unspoken desires that stirred within her heart. She grappled with a longing for a connection deemed forbidden by the strictures of their society. As the night stretched on, both Issei and Venelana found themselves entangled in a web of forbidden desires, the yearning for something beyond their reach haunting their every thought and breath. Little did they know that the forbidden desires that stirred within them were a testament to the intricacies of love and longing, a relentless tide that would test their resolve, challenge their loyalties, and unveil the depths of their souls within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 6. A Mother's Dilemma. Venelana Gremory paced the opulent halls of the Gremory mansion, her mind a tumultuous storm of conflicting emotions. The encounter with Issei had left a profound impact, stirring a whirlwind of desires and dilemmas she hadn't anticipated. In the solitude of her chambers, Venelana sat by the window, the moon casting a soft glow upon her troubled countenance. Her thoughts drifted back to her duties as a mother, a noble, and the unspoken desires that clashed with societal expectations. Grafia, her trusted confidant and sister-in-law, entered the room, a silent understanding passing between them. Venelana regarded her with a mixture of turmoil and vulnerability. "Grafia, the turmoil within me, it grows with every passing moment," Venelana confessed, her voice tinged with a sense of helplessness. Grafia took a seat beside her gaze filled with empathy. "Venelana, the heart often yearns for what it cannot have. But our duties and responsibilities bind us to paths we might not choose." Venelana nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of her dilemma. Issei-kun's sincerity and kindness, they have stirred emotions I thought long dormant. Yet, the societal norms and the impact on the family weigh heavily on my decisions. Grafia regarded her with a thoughtful gaze. "The path of duty is often paved with sacrifices. Your commitment to the family's honor and stability is commendable, Venelana. But sometimes, the heart's desires cannot be silenced." Venelana pondered Grafia's words, a sense of turmoil battling with a longing in her heart. She wrestled with the dilemma of duty and desire, torn between her responsibilities as a mother and the forbidden connection that had taken root within her. Days turned into a constant struggle for Venelana. Her interactions with Issei became more distant, a self-imposed barrier erected to shield the family from potential repercussions. Yet, the ache of unspoken desires lingered, a silent echo in the recesses of her heart. Meanwhile, Issei grappled with the repercussions of his unintended impact on the Gremory household. His loyalty to Rias and the guilt of harboring feelings for her mother weighed heavily on his conscience. His interactions with Venelana became rare, each encounter filled with an unspoken tension, a poignant reminder of the boundaries they couldn't cross. One evening, during a rare gathering at the Gremory mansion, Issei found himself amidst the aristocratic circle, his discomfort palpable amidst a strained atmosphere. Venelana's distant yet graceful presence only added to the unease that enveloped the gathering. As the night progressed, Lord Gremory's watchful gaze never wavered, his suspicion simmering beneath the surface. Rias, absorbed in her duties, remained oblivious to the undercurrents within the family. Issei's discomfort grew with every passing moment, his yearning for Venelana's understanding and their once warm interactions intensifying. He felt a sense of helplessness, knowing the strain he had inadvertently caused within the esteemed household. Amidst the formalities of the gathering, Venelana stole a brief moment alone, the weight of her dilemma pressing down upon her. Issei's presence had become a catalyst for the turmoil within her heart, a forbidden desire that seemed to defy reason and societal norms. Issei, lost in his thoughts and the suffocating tension of the gathering, sought solace in a quiet corner of the mansion's garden. His heart ached at the rift his presence seemed to have caused within the Gremory family, especially towards Venelana. As fate would have it, their paths crossed in the secluded garden, a chance encounter, fraught with unspoken emotions and the weight of their forbidden desires. "Issei-kun," Venelana's voice broke the silence, her tone a mix of longing and restraint. Issei turned to find her standing there, the moonlight casting an ethereal glow around her. His heart skipped a beat at the sight of her, conflicting emotions raging within him. "Lady Venelana," Issei greeted her, a mix of reverence and remorse, coloring his tone. I apologize if my presence has caused any distress to your family." Venelana regarded him with a mix of sadness and affection. "Issei-kun, your presence has brought both joy and turmoil. But the complexities of our positions demand sacrifices." Issei nodded, the ache of unfulfilled longing palpable in the air between them. "I understand, Lady Venelana. I would never want to bring harm to the Gremory family." Their conversation lingered in the quietude of the garden, an unspoken understanding passing between them, a poignant acknowledgement of the forbidden desires that tugged at their hearts. As they bid each other a silent farewell, Issei felt the weight of his unspoken emotions intensify, a sense of longing and regret settling within him. Meanwhile, Venelana retreated into the depths of her turmoil, the conflict between duty and desire, leaving her heart heavy and torn. In the solace of their chambers, both Issei and Venelana grappled with the dilemmas that plagued them, a mother, torn between her responsibilities and the unspoken desires within her heart, and a young devil burdened by the guilt of his unintended impact on the esteemed Gremory family. Little did they know that the choices they made in the midst of their conflicting desires would shape the course of their destinies, a journey fraught with dilemmas, sacrifices, and the unraveling of emotions within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 7. Growing Tensions. Within the illustrious Gremory mansion, the undercurrents of tension continued to weave an intricate tapestry of unease. Issei's distant interactions with Venelana and the implications of their unspoken desires had cast a shadow over the household's tranquility. As days turned into weeks, the strained atmosphere lingered, a palpable tension that simmered beneath the surface, threatening to unravel the delicate balance within the esteemed family. Issei grappled with the weight of guilt and longing that weighed heavily on his heart. His loyalty to Rias remained steadfast, but the pull he felt towards Venelana seemed to intensify with every passing moment. Meanwhile, Venelana found herself ensnared in a web of conflicting emotions, a mother, torn between her duties and the forbidden desires that stirred within her. Her interactions with Issei became more infrequent, a self-imposed barrier erected to safeguard the family's honor. Rias, absorbed in her responsibilities as heiress and her duties within devilish society, remained oblivious to the growing tensions within her own household. However, Lord Gremory's watchful gaze continued to linger, his suspicions casting a shadow over the family's serenity. One evening, as the Gremory mansion bustled with activity, a formal gathering of devil aristocrats was convened. Issei, caught amidst the strained ambience, navigated through the crowd with a sense of unease, the weight of the unintended impact he seemed to have caused heavy on his shoulders. Venelana's graceful presence added to the subdued atmosphere of the gathering. Her distant yet regal demeanor concealed the turmoil that raged within her, a silent struggle between her heart's desires and the societal expectations that bound her. As the night progressed, Lord Gremory's scrutinizing gaze remained fixed on Issei and Venelana. The whispers and speculative glances that followed their interactions only added to the growing tension within the mansion's opulent halls. In a secluded corner of the gathering, Issei found himself momentarily alone, the suffocating tension driving him to seek solace in the mansion's gardens. His heart ached at the rift that seemed to widen between himself and the esteemed Gremory family, especially towards Venelana. However, fate intervened as he crossed paths with Rias, who regarded him with a mixture of warmth and concern. "Issei, something seems amiss. Is everything alright?" Issei forced a smile, attempting to mask the turmoil within him. "I'm fine, Rias. Just feeling a bit out of place tonight." Rias observed him intently, her concern deepening. "Issei, you've been distant lately. I trust you, but if something is bothering you, please share it with me." Issei hesitated, torn between his loyalty to Rias and the desire to alleviate the tension brewing within the household. It's nothing serious, Rias. Just some personal thoughts I need to sort out." Rias nodded, a hint of disappointment flickering in her eyes, though she chose not to press further. "Alright, but remember, I'm here for you." As the night wore on, the strained atmosphere within the gathering seemed to escalate. Lord Gremory's suspicions grew, leading to a confrontation with Venelana in a secluded corner of the mansion. "Venelana, I've observed your interactions with Issei. It's becoming a cause for concern," Lord Gremory voiced, his tone a mix of apprehension and sternness. Venelana met his gaze with composure, concealing the tumult that raged within her. "Millard, my interactions have been merely courteous. There's no impropriety." Lord Gremory regarded her with a scrutinizing gaze, his suspicions unrelenting. "I will not let any tarnish come upon our family's honor. This matter needs to be resolved." Venelana felt the weight of her husband's suspicions pressing down upon her. She struggled to contain the conflict raging within her, a mother, torn between her responsibilities and the forbidden desires that tugged at her heart. Meanwhile, Issei, lost in the turmoil of the evening, found himself retreating to the solitude of his room. The suffocating tension of the gathering and the implications of his unintended impact on the Gremory household weighed heavily upon him. In the quiet of his chamber, Issei grappled with conflicting emotions. His loyalty to Rias remained unwavering, yet the ache of unspoken desires for her mother added to the burden he carried. Venelana, in her own chamber, faced a dilemma that seemed to deepen with every passing moment. Her heart yearned for a connection deemed forbidden, the societal norms clashing with the desires that stirred within her. Little did they know that the growing tensions within the Gremory household were mere embers, harbingers of an impending storm that would test their resolve, unravel the depths of their emotions, and threaten the very fabric of their existence within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 8. Sacrifices and Decisions. Within the hallowed halls of the Gremory mansion, the tension that had brewed in the wake of the formal gathering lingered, casting a suffocating shadow over the household's tranquility. Issei's unease grew as he grappled with the unintended rift his presence seemed to have caused within the esteemed family. Venelana, torn between her duties as a mother and the forbidden desires that stirred within her, found herself ensnared in a web of conflicting emotions. Her interactions with Issei became more guarded, a self-imposed barrier erected to protect the family's honor. As days turned into a prolonged silence, the strain within the Gremory household deepened, a palpable tension that seemed to permeate every corner of the mansion. Lord Gremory's suspicions only intensified, his watchful gaze lingering on the interactions between Issei and Venelana. Issei, burdened by guilt and the longing that gnawed at his heart, sought solace in the familiarity of his devilish duties and training sessions with Rias and their group. However, the unspoken rift between himself and Venelana remained a poignant reminder of the unintended impact he had caused. Meanwhile, Venelana wrestled with a dilemma that seemed to grow more intricate by the day. Her heart yearned for a connection deemed forbidden by societal norms, yet her responsibilities as a mother and a noble weighed heavily on her decisions. One evening, as the moon cast its ethereal glow over the mansion, a sense of restlessness settled within Venelana. Her heart ached with the weight of the sacrifices she was compelled to make, torn between her desires and the expectations placed upon her. In the solitude of her chambers, Venelana found herself facing the mirror reflection that seemed to mirror the conflict raging within her. Her crimson eyes held a mix of determination and vulnerability as she contemplated the choices that lay ahead. A soft knock interrupted her contemplation, and Grafia entered the room, a sense of concern etched in her expression. "Venelana, the tension within the household is palpable. Are you well?" Venelana turned to her sister-in-law, a mixture of turmoil and resolve in her gaze. "Grafia, the burden of decisions weighs heavily upon me. I fear the impact they may have on the family." Grafia regarded her with empathy, understanding the depth of Venelana's turmoil. "The heart's desires often clash with the expectations placed upon us. But sacrifices are sometimes necessary for the greater good." Venelana nodded, a sense of determination solidifying within her. "I must uphold the family's honor, even if it means sacrificing my own desires." As the night wore on, Issei found himself lost in a labyrinth of conflicting emotions. His loyalty to Rias remained unwavering, but the longing he felt for Venelana seemed to intensify, a longing deemed forbidden by societal norms. In the quietude of his room, Issei grappled with the turmoil that churned within him. His heart ached with the weight of the unintended strain on the Gremory family, especially towards Venelana. Despite his efforts to distance himself, the unspoken bond lingered, an invisible thread that tethered him to thoughts of Ria's mother. Meanwhile, Rias noticed the growing distance between Issei and Venelana, an unease settling within her. Sensing the underlying tension, she sought to address the rift that seemed to widen within her household. "Mother, something seems amiss between Issei and you," Rias voiced, her concern evident in her tone as she approached Venelana. Venelana regarded her daughter with a mix of affection and restraint. "Rias, there are complexities within devilish society that demand sacrifices. Our paths may not always align as we wish." Rias sensed the weight of her mother's words, a glimmer of understanding flickering in her eyes. "Whatever burdens you carry, mother, know that I'll stand by your side." Venelana offered a small smile, her heart heavy with the sacrifices she knew she must make. "Thank you, my dear Rias. Your support means everything to me." As the night stretched on, Venelana grappled with the weight of her decisions. The conflict within her heart intensified, a mother torn between her duties and the unspoken desires that tugged at her soul. In the quiet solitude of her chambers, Venelana reached a moment of clarity, a resolution born of sacrifice and the obligation she bore as a noble and a mother. Issei, lost in his own turmoil, found himself wandering the halls of the mansion in the silent hours of the night. A sense of longing and regret weighed heavily upon him, the ache of unfulfilled desires etched into his heart. As the dawn approached, a decisive moment loomed on the horizon, a moment that would demand sacrifices, test loyalties, and shape the destinies of those entwined within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. The choices that awaited would herald a turning point, an irrevocable shift in the dynamics of relationships within the esteemed Gremory household. Chapter 9. Reckoning and Consequences. Within the Gremory mansion, the air crackled with an eerie tension, a prelude to the reckoning that loomed on the horizon. Issei's unease had grown into a constant companion, the weight of his unintended impact on the household bearing down upon him. Venelana, torn between duty and desire, found herself standing at a precipice. An inevitable confrontation awaited, one that would unravel the delicate balance within the family and lay bare the consequences of unspoken desires. As dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and gold, the mansion stirred with an unusual stillness, a palpable tension that hung in the air like a heavy shroud. Issei, burdened by the weight of conflicting emotions, found himself drawn to the gardens, seeking solace amidst the serenity of nature. His heart ached with the knowledge of the rift he had inadvertently caused within the esteemed Gremory household, especially towards Venelana. Meanwhile, Venelana grappled with the resolve she had forged, a decision born of sacrifice and the obligations that tethered her to the societal norms of devilish hierarchy. In the heart of the mansion, a private chamber concealed the impending confrontation, a space where decisions would be laid bare and the repercussions of unspoken desires would unfurl. Within the chamber, Lord Gremory stood, his demeanor a blend of sternness and concern. Venelana stood opposite him, her posture poised yet betraying the turmoil that raged within. "Venelana, the suspicions surrounding your interactions with Issei have reached a critical point," Lord Gremory voiced, his tone laden with apprehension. Venelana met his gaze with a mixture of resolve and regret. "Millard, I assure you, my interactions with Issei have been nothing but courteous and respectful." Lord Gremory regarded her with a scrutinous gaze, his suspicions unrelenting. "I cannot overlook the implications of such interactions, especially concerning our family's honor." As the tension escalated within the private chamber, Issei sensed the impending confrontation, a knot forming in his stomach. A sense of helplessness engulfed him, knowing that his unintended impact had led to this pivotal moment. In the gardens, Rias paced with an unease she couldn't shake. Sensing the tension that permeated the mansion, she sought answers, her instincts guiding her towards the heart of the impending reckoning. The private chamber crackled with the weight of unspoken words and unfulfilled desires. Venelana struggled to articulate the depth of her decisions, the sacrifices she had resolved to make for the family's honor. "Millard, my duties as a mother and a noble have guided my actions," Venelana confessed, her voice laced with a mix of determination and vulnerability. Lord Gremory regarded her with a furrowed brow, his suspicions clashing with the affection he held for his wife. "Venelana, I understand the complexities of our societal norms. But I cannot ignore the implications of these interactions on our family's reputation." The confrontation escalated, emotions bubbling to the surface, a clash between duty and desire, loyalty and longing. In the gardens, Rias stumbled upon the intense atmosphere emanating from the private chamber. Her heart clenched with concern as she sensed the gravity of the situation that unfolded behind closed doors. Issei, overcome with guilt and regret, found himself drawn towards the source of the escalating tension. He arrived at the private chamber, a sense of urgency propelling him forward. Within the chamber, emotions reached a crescendo, an impasse where sacrifices and desires collided, the consequences of unspoken bonds threatening to unravel the very fabric of the Gremory household. "Millard, I beg for your understanding," Venelana pleaded, her voice a desperate plea born of conflicting emotions. Issei's arrival interrupted the escalating tension, his presence a testament to the unintended impact he had caused. I apologize for any distress my presence has caused." Rias, sensing the turmoil that gripped the chamber, stepped forward, her concern for her mother evident. "What is happening?" The atmosphere crackled with the weight of unspoken words, tensions reaching a precipice, a moment of reckoning that demanded resolution and understanding. As the confrontation unfolded, Venelana's resolve wavered, torn between her responsibilities and the desires that tugged at her heart. Issei grappled with the consequences of his unintended impact, his heart heavy with regret and longing. In the midst of the escalating tension, a decision hung in the balance, a choice that would shape the destinies of those entangled within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Little did they know that the reckoning and consequences of their choices would herald a transformative shift, a pivotal moment that would test the depths of their resolve, loyalty, and the intricacies of relationships within the esteemed Gremory household. Chapter 10. Resolute Bonds. The tense air within the Gremory mansion reached its zenith as the confrontation unfolded, each heartbeat echoing the weight of unspoken words and desires that simmered beneath the surface. Venelana, caught between her duties and the longing in her heart, stood poised, her resolve faltering under the scrutiny of the moment. Issei, burdened by the unintended rift his presence had caused, felt the weight of guilt and longing tug at his conscience. Rias, caught in the midst of the escalating tension, sought answers amidst the turmoil that seemed to engulf her family. In the midst of the charged atmosphere, Venelana's voice cut through the silence, a mix of determination and vulnerability, lacing her words. "Millard, I understand the implications of our societal norms, but I cannot deny the bonds that transcend them." Lord Gremory regarded her with a furrowed brow, his concern and skepticism evident. "Venelana, our family's honor is paramount. Your actions have raised suspicions that we cannot ignore." Venelana's resolve wavered, her heart torn between her love for her family and the desires she couldn't silence. "Millard, my intentions were never to bring harm to our family. But sometimes, the heart yearns for what it cannot have." Issei stepped forward, his voice tinged with regret. "I apologize for any distress my presence has caused. My loyalty to the Gremory family has never wavered." Rias, sensing the complexity of the situation, interjected with a mix of concern and determination. "Mother, Issei, what is happening? Please, I need to understand." The tension within the chamber crackled, emotions reaching a crescendo, a moment that demanded resolution and understanding, a turning point in the intricate dynamics of the Gremory household. Venelana met Ria's gaze, a mix of affection and sorrow in her eyes. "Rias, my dear, there are complexities that transcend explanation. Sometimes, sacrifices are necessary for the greater good." Issei's heart ached at the sight of the turmoil that gripped the household. "Lady Venelana, I never intended to cause any harm. Please forgive the unintended consequences." As the emotions within the chamber reached a tipping point, a moment of clarity seemed to dawn, a realization that the bonds forged in the face of adversity were resilient, transcending societal norms and expectations. Lord Gremory, caught amidst conflicting emotions, weighed the gravity of the situation, a balance between his concern for the family's honor and the affection he held for his wife and daughter. In the midst of the charged atmosphere, Venelana made a decision, a resolute stance born of sacrifice and unwavering determination. "Millard, Rias, I will uphold the family's honor, but know that the bonds we share are unbreakable." Issei, moved by Venelana's resolve, bowed his head in acknowledgement. "Lady Venelana, I understand. I will respect your decision." Rias, though still perplexed by the complexities, found solace in her mother's unwavering determination. "Mother, I'll stand by you, no matter the circumstances." The tense atmosphere seemed to ease, a sense of understanding settling within the chamber, a moment of acceptance and acknowledgement of the unspoken bonds that bound them all. As the confrontation drew to a close, a newfound understanding seemed to bridge the rift that had threatened to tear the family asunder. Venelana's resolve and sacrifice paved the path for a semblance of harmony within the esteemed Gremory household. Days turned into a delicate dance of redefined relationships and new understanding and acceptance that forged stronger bonds within the family. Issei's interactions with Venelana remained respectful yet distant, a silent agreement born of respect for the choices made. Rias, guided by her mother's strength, navigated her duties with a newfound resolve, the turmoil of the past weeks becoming a catalyst for growth and understanding. Venelana, though burdened by the weight of sacrifice, found solace in the unity that emerged from the turmoil, a sense of resilience that strengthened the familial bonds and the unspoken understanding that transcended societal norms. As the mansion's halls reverberated with a newfound harmony, the Gremory household emerged from the crucible of conflicting desires and societal expectations, a testament to the resilience of familial bonds and the unwavering resolve that defined their intricate relationships within the realm of devilish affairs. Little did they know that the resolute bonds forged in the face of adversity would herald a new chapter, a journey of understanding, acceptance, and a deeper appreciation for the complexities that defined their lives within the intricate tapestry of devilish society. Chapter 11. Reconciliation and Understanding. Within the esteemed Gremory household, a sense of reconciliation and understanding settled over the mansion's opulent halls, the echoes of the recent turmoil slowly dissipating. Venelana's resolute decision had paved the way for a new semblance of harmony, though the echoes of the past lingered, woven into the fabric of their lives. Issei, burdened by the unintended rift his presence had caused, found solace in the routines of devilish duties and training sessions with Rias and their group. His interactions with Venelana remained courteous, yet held an unspoken understanding, a mutual respect, born of the choices made in the wake of the confrontation. Venelana, the epitome of grace and strength, navigated her responsibilities with a renewed determination. Her sacrifice resonated within the confines of the Gremory household, forging a newfound understanding that transcended the societal norms that bound them. Rias, guided by her mother's unwavering resolve, assumed her duties as heiress with a newfound sense of maturity and understanding. Her admiration for Venelana's strength grew, admiring the sacrifices made for the family's honor. As days turned into weeks, the mansion buzzed with a newfound sense of tranquility, the familial bonds reshaped by the recent tumult. Venelana's interactions with Rias held a deeper layer of understanding, a silent acknowledgement of the sacrifices made for the family's stability. Issei, during his devilish duties, found himself reflecting on the intricacies of the heart and societal expectations. His loyalty to Rias remained steadfast, yet the lessons learned from the complexities of the recent events lingered, a testament to the unspoken desires and sacrifices that defined their lives. One evening, amidst the quietude of the mansion, Issei found himself in the gardens, a familiar sanctuary where thoughts could drift and emotions find solace amidst the tranquility of nature. As he strolled amidst the verdant foliage, lost in contemplation, a voice interrupted his reverie. "Issei-kun, may I have a moment of your time?" Issei turned to find Venelana standing there, her crimson hair catching the moon's ethereal glow. His heart skipped a beat at the unexpected encounter, a mix of surprise and reverence coloring his expression. "Lady Venelana," Issei greeted her, a blend of respect and curiosity in his voice. "Of course, please." Venelana approached him with a measured grace, her demeanor poised yet carrying a sense of warmth. "I wanted to express my gratitude for your understanding and respect towards the choices made." Issei nodded, a sense of admiration for Venelana's strength evident in his eyes. "Your resolve and sacrifice, they've shown me the complexities of duty and desire within devilish society." Venelana regarded him with a gentle smile, an unspoken appreciation for his sincerity. "Issei-kun, the heart often treads paths laden with complexities. Your understanding is admirable." As their conversation continued, a sense of mutual understanding seemed to weave through their words, a connection forged by the recent tumultuous events, bridging the gap that had formed between them. Meanwhile, Rias, guided by her mother's strength, sought to understand the intricacies that defined their familial bonds. Her interactions with Venelana held a newfound depth, an unspoken appreciation for the sacrifices made evident in their conversations. In the quietude of the mansion, Venelana and Issei found a semblance of understanding, a reconciliation, born of respect and acknowledgement of the complexities that defined their lives within devilish society. As the moon cast its gentle glow over the gardens, a sense of acceptance and appreciation lingered in the air, a testament to the resilience of familial bonds and the unspoken understanding that transcended societal expectations. Little did they know that the reconciliation and understanding that bloomed amidst the tranquility of the Gremory household would herald a new chapter, a journey of acceptance, growth, and a deeper appreciation for the intricacies that defined their lives within the intricate tapestry of devilish affairs. Chapter 12. Forbidden Memories. Time had a peculiar way of softening the edges of memories, but within the esteemed halls of the Gremory mansion, some moments remained etched in the tapestry of the past, forbidden and yet lingering like echoes in the corridors. Issei, despite the passage of time, found himself drawn back to memories he had hoped would fade, a conundrum of emotions and desires that he had vowed to leave behind. The forbidden sentiments he harbored for Venelana lingered, an unspoken thread weaving its way through his thoughts, even as he continued his diligent devilish duties alongside Rias and their group. Venelana, the epitome of poise and strength, navigated her responsibilities with an unwavering determination. Her sacrifice resonated within the confines of the Gremory household, though the memories of the tumultuous encounter and the unspoken bond shared with Issei lingered in the recesses of her heart. As days turned into months, a semblance of harmony settled within the mansion's opulent walls. The familial bonds, reshaped by the recent events, held a new understanding that transcended the societal norms that bound them. Yet, the echoes of the past remained silent reminders of a forbidden connection that defied reason. Issei, during a moment of solitude within the gardens, found himself revisiting memories he had tucked away, memories that sparked a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The moonlight cast a serene glow upon the foliage as he grappled with the tumult that stirred within him. Venelana's unexpected encounter with Issei had left an indelible mark, a lingering memory that seemed to defy the passage of time. Her own reflections led her to moments that tested the depths of her resolve, a sacrifice made for the family's honor, one that remained a bittersweet memory etched into her heart. Meanwhile, Rias, guided by her mother's unwavering strength, assumed her role as heiress with a newfound sense of maturity and understanding. Her admiration for Venelana's sacrifices deepened, though the enigmatic tension that once enveloped the household lingered as a mere whisper in the background. As fate would have it, a chance encounter brought Issei and Venelana together in the tranquil gardens, once more an unforeseen convergence that stirred the dormant memories and unspoken desires between them. Issei-kun, Venelana's voice cut through the serenity, a mix of surprise and warmth in her tone. Issei turned to find her standing there, a vision in the moon's gentle embrace. His heart quickened at the unexpected encounter, a cascade of emotions flooding his senses. "Lady Venelana," Issei greeted her, his voice betraying a mix of reverence and nostalgia. "It's unexpected to see you here." Venelana approached him with a measured grace, her eyes holding a myriad of emotions. "Our paths seem to cross unexpectedly, don't they?" Issei nodded, a sense of longing and regret tugging at his heart. "Yes, they do." Their conversation lingered in the quietude of the gardens, a palpable tension woven into the air, a delicate balance between unspoken desires and the constraints that tethered them. "Issei-kun, the choices we've made, they've shaped the paths we tread," Venelana voiced, a sense of longing veiled beneath her compass demeanor. Issei met her gaze, his heart heavy with the weight of forbidden memories. "Indeed, Lady Venelana. Some choices linger as bittersweet memories, regardless of time." Their encounter, though fleeting, reignited a cascade of emotions, a reminder of the unspoken bond that defied societal norms and the complexities that defined their lives. As they bid each other a silent farewell, Issei felt the weight of unresolved emotions intensify, a sense of longing and regret settling within him. Meanwhile, Venelana retreated into the depths of her thoughts, the memories of the forbidden connection resurfacing, a poignant reminder of sacrifices made and desires left unspoken. In the solitude of their respective spaces, Issei and Venelana grappled with the forbidden memories that lingered, a silent echo of a connection deemed impossible, yet etched into the fabric of their beings. Little did they know that the forbidden memories, though buried beneath a facade of duty and societal expectations, would continue to shape the intricate tapestry of their lives, a testament to the enduring power of emotions that defied reason and the complexities that defined their existence within devilish affairs. End of the part 1. So how was this story? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this story with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.